are more likely to go in than those that didn't have a mother that served. But right now, today, 37% of active duty families are likely to recommend military service. 37%. They see what's going on today, and I've heard my colleagues say we shouldn't be injecting politics into the military, and that President Biden did that, and Lloyd Austin, Secretary of Defense, did that. But what are we doing to these military men and women? Politics are being injected right here, today. We have men and women that deserve to be promoted, to serve where their country knows they are needed. And our military families today are saying, you know what? I don't want my kid serving in the military because they will be used as political pawns.
Well, who's doing that? That's Senator Joni Ernst out of Iowa. Welcome back to the program. Dana Loesch here with you. So let me tell you what this is about, because it's time for, we got to take some people to task here. So this is the Senate trying to go after Tommy Tuberville, because Senator Tommy Tuberville has been protesting against the Democrats' insistence that the Pentagon use our taxpayer dollars to subsidize service members' abortion on demand as birth control. Now, that phrase, as I described it, is entirely 1,011% accurate. And he's saying that, no, we're not doing this. This is not what this is for. And Tuberville he's absolutely correct. If you're going to plant your flag on any kind of hill, this is one to plant it on. And so now Democrats have been massaging their surrogates in the media and leading this fight against Tuberville for this. And so now you got these weak Republicans that are bending the knee on the Senate floor and joining Democrats in attacking Tommy Tuberville. It is shameful, absolutely shameful to see Republicans, including people like Senator Joni Ernst, she was going off on Tuberville on the floor in that speech. She's been on this program. I've always been, pretty. I've never really had anything bad to say about her. But to see Republicans like her, and there are others, we'll get to them, do more to protect Democrats who politicized the military than to protect one of their own who is fighting it. That is something else to behold. These weak Republicans would rather spend our hard-earned dollars, our tax dollars, on abortion as birth control, subsidize it, because they're too afraid to fight. Shame on them. And it wasn't just her, as you can imagine. You had everybody. You had Lindsey Graham fumed at Tuberville on the Senate floor. He went off on him. He said that Tuberville, he went off on him and said, you just denied this lady a promotion. Yeah, listen to this. This is Lindsey Graham doing the same thing. Audio soundbite 16.
Let me respond to my colleague respectfully. We have courts. If you think they've done something illegal, go to court. That's how you handle these things. The Pentagon has issued a legal opinion I disagree with, saying this doesn't violate the Hyde Amendment. I disagree with it. Here's what's going to happen. You've just denied this lady a promotion. You did that.
He didn't do that.
All of us are ready to promote her.
He didn't do that.
Because she deserves to be promoted.
I would love to ask people like Lindsey Graham and Joni Ernst this question, because apparently no one in our media is going to do it. Have we ever had a problem with these sorts of bills, these appropriations, these promotions before? I mean, it's rhetorical because the answer is no. We haven't had a problem with them before. These all have always been passed with a bipartisan consensus. They haven't fought over it. They haven't been held up. And there's a reason, a very clear reason as to why. It is only now, after Democrats decide to insert the poison pill, a taxpayer-funded abortion on demand as birth control. And again, that's exactly what this is. To subsidize that on behalf of an already broke taxpayer. To give that money to the government, a government that says it has enough money to fight 2 wars. Well, hell, if you got enough money to fight 2 wars, and we got too many damn taxes. Democrats chose to politicize this by insisting upon the inclusion of the taxpayer subsidization of abortion. Democrats insisted on this. That is the reason why we have this historical holdup. We haven't had a problem with it before, but that's because Democrats have chosen not to play around with military funding and promotions like that before, to this extent. Tommy Tuberville is just doing what voters sent Tommy Tuberville there to do, to stand against this. That Lindsey Graham is weak isn't Tuberville's fault. That Joni Ernst is weak isn't Tuberville's fault. Nor is it the fault of the taxpayers across the country. It is not our fault that people like Lindsey Graham and Joni Ernst and these other senators that have been assailing Tuberville for his correct, fiscally responsible stance. It is not the voters' responsibility to pick up for the lack of a spine for these people. You were sent there to fight against this, not to cave because you're terrified of the Democrats and their press. It's just disgusting to see this. They all ganged up on him on the Senate floor. All of them. Not all of them, but most of them. Oh, you had everybody from Dan Sullivan. They were all trying to seek unanimous consent to confirm all the various nominees whose they laid out their credentials. They were arguing them on the floor. Mitt Romney rose to say that he's concerned about military readiness. Did Mitt Romney stand and tell Democrats that he was concerned that they were imperiling military readiness when they insisted on attaching this? Because I don't seem to recall that. Todd Young out of Indiana. Were they all frustrated? Dan Sullivan out of Alaska, he said he was frustrated with Tuberville's objections. Was he frustrated when Democrats decided to marry this appropriation with this subsidy of taxpayer of abortion on demand as birth control? Because I'm just coming up blank, guys, with all of my resources and all of the services that we have. I'm just coming up blank when it comes to all the video and audio that I would gather for this to showcase, to bring you a more balanced perspective on it. It's just not there. It is pretty stunning. Audio soundbite 17. Sullivan, he went at Tuberville on the Senate floor. Listen to this.
And look, what Senator Tuberville said about the policy in Austin and Biden on this abortion policy, I fully agree with him. We should be suing to stop it. I think it's illegal. And he's also right. Everybody uses holds. I certainly use holds. But the key is you put a hold on someone who typically has some kind of control over the issue that you're trying to fix. Some kind of responsibility. One of the things I've been talking to the senator from Alabama on is, all right, let's put a hold on the Undersecretary of Defense for policy. He's the guy. He's a civilian, and he's in charge of this policy dispute. Let's put a hold on him. That's the right guy. And squeeze him. But why are we putting holds on war heroes? I'm going to get to one.
They're not putting
here in a
holds
minute.
on them. Let me correct Senator Dan Sullivan, because it's a shame to think that I would know more about the process of his job than he does. So the Associated Press, they in their story, they accidentally told on themselves. This is a couple days back when they were saying that, the Pentagon's warning of disruptions as Army and Marines lack confirmed leaders for the first time. And again, because it's the first time that Democrats chose to politicize something like this. Now, what they're talking about is the process of voting en masse. Take a giant chunk of these people and vote on multiple confirmations in one passing. Now, nothing is stopping the Senate from taking up each nomination and confirming each nomination, one nomination at a time. Not even Tuberville can stop that. He can stop en masse giant group confirmations, and that's what he's doing. So what you're hearing from these Republicans, number one, is that they're too damn weak to fight on your behalf against taxpayer-funded abortion. They don't want to sacrifice themselves on the altar of a good and principled fight. They'd rather you foot the bill and pay for someone else's abortion on demand as birth control. Happy to provide and argue with you into a hole in the ground, any drive-by who wants to take issue with that, because the statistics are on this thing called the internet, and they're actually published by Planned Parenthood themselves. Aside from that, no one's stopping to vote on each individual. Tuberville, like I said, he can't do that. But these people are so weak and so cowardly. They're going harder at one of their own than they are the Democrats who put everybody in that position in the first place. This is like attacking Israel for saying that you shouldn't, how dare you defend yourself because you got attacked by Hamas. It's like saying, how dare you, Republican senator, try to stop this action that Democrats are doing. I'm just talking about cause and effect here and how the left seems to always struggle with understanding it, no matter what the variables are. I mean, he has been hysterically attacked by Democrats and now Republicans that are joining right in with it. And the problem again, you have, so many of these nominees that they have, and so many, like, for instance, you have Air Force Lieutenant General Jim Slife. The Federalist had a piece on Slife, who, after George Floyd's death, wrote a memo claiming that U.S. service members are naive to believe that so-called institutional racism and unconscious bias don't affect the military. He said it was important for the military to listen to other perspectives and accept them as valid. He added that because he's a middle-aged white man who grew up in a middle-class family, he's limited in his perspective. He pushes DEI and Marxism. He's not the only one. I actually think that this is a smart move on Tuberville's part because, A, you're blocking taxpayer-subsidized abortion on demand as birth control, but also because, number two, you are stopping a mass confirmation. Some of these apples in this barrel are bad. Some of them are pushing DEI and CRT, and they're being thrown in there with some of the better ones so that they can hide in the reputations of the good ones, and they can hide their DEI, CRT nonsense backgrounds. So there's two great benefits that we have from Tuberville doing this.